core messaging doc, core product marketing will always be there. Like we will always need that. But how we change that for personas, for verticals, for certain titles, whatever, I think AI will really handle the variation creation of that and then even the delivery of that.
Hello, it's another episode of The Last Word on Product Marketing podcast. I'm Liza Cichowski, a fractional product marketer and consultant with Last Word Marketing and the host of this podcast. Today, my guest is Michelle Nieberding, who is Director of Product Marketing at Treasure Data and somewhat of a marketing AI guru. Michelle has held senior product marketing roles at some of the most innovative companies in MarTech and customer experience, including Qualtrics, Iterable, and MetaRouter. She's also an executive mentor at Cornell University and has built a strong digital presence by sharing practical, actionable tips for how product marketers can use AI to be more strategic, more creative, and more impactful in their roles. Michelle's passion is helping marketers harness the power of data and AI to deliver personalized experiences, drive revenue, and build customer trust. I'm hoping that we'll be able to delve into all of those things today. So, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. Anytime I can nerd out about AI with someone, like, count me in. So this is great.
Excellent. That's what we're going to do. So, yeah, to get us started, what do you think about when you think about your top 3 use cases for AI specifically in product marketing?
Yeah, gosh, I think there's so many. It's like if you have a use case or a problem or a challenge, you can probably find an AI tool for that. That being said, some that maybe I'm like recently obsessed with. One I would say is like voice of the customer or just like mining for those customer nuggets of gold, right? That we always look for. I just remember the days like Gong before it was out was like a godsend. Just to have the recordings was great. Then you could add filters and then you could use AI insights. But I think we're getting much better and broader than that. Beyond just call recordings like CRM data, support tickets, user reviews, G2, all those things, and finding really good ways for AI to bring all of that together so that we're just like reviewing what our customers are saying. What are the issues with the product? What are they excited about? I have an agent that pulls like the most potentially viral or like the best testimonials that I just send to the customers and say, hey, can you approve this quote? You said it. These are your words. Can you approve or not? What a great way to do that versus, bothering the CS person, have the CS person say, no, you can't talk to my customer. And, all that drama that we've all been through before. But I think from a true voice of the customer, like mining for that data has gotten really, really good with AI. Second, I would say is like messaging and asset generation. So I think, everyone's put that into ChatGPT, help me with messaging, help me with positioning, competitive research and like perplexity, right? We've all kind of done that. I think what AI is doing really well is sure, it can give us a baseline or pull some competitive research maybe we hadn't considered before. But what I'm obsessed with is the asset generation. So once you get that messaging doc really, really good, pros and cons of using ChatGPT to start that, fine, we can talk through that. But to build like your bill of materials or like decks or like visual elements, AI has so many cool tools to do that. And I think the really nice pairing of that is a really good messaging doc will give you really, really good materials built on AI. I've also seen messaging docs that it was literally copy and paste ChatGPT into like a Gamma, for example. It's like build a sales deck for, a pitch deck, right? And like it doesn't make any sense because the messaging doc wasn't good. And that's a good red flag to say, hey, maybe start back at ground zero. But I say that because the speed and ability of which we can now build assets or even like battle cards, things like that has gotten so phenomenal and saving me a lot of time for, bothering the designer and making this tweak and, updating this image, whatever it is. So that's been really great. And then I think the last one that's getting better is kind of like experimentation and analysis. So if we're spending less time building the coveted 1-pagers, right, or 2-pagers, what we spent all of our lives doing, right, I think we're getting more time back to be more strategic to test certain hypotheses. What would customers react to like this product or prioritization of a roadmap, or what pain points are we solving? If we're solving the same pain points as a competitor, how can we solve them differently? Things like that. Like, I think that gives us a lot more time to be more strategic, come with these hypotheses and then test that. Now, when it comes to like research of that. So Anna Sarvesta, she's with ServiceNow, another awesome product marketer, but she suggested a tool called Evidenza, which is like AI generated user research. So it'll say, okay, if you have this kind of positioning, this product, whatever, how would users in your ICP potentially react? Now, Evidenza claims that they're like 88% accurate to a human kind of research group. I'm testing that as we speak, so stay tuned for results. But I think, again, from like a hypothesis and testing and market research, we're getting better as well. So yeah, let me just dump a lot of high level concepts on you really quickly.
No, that's great. That's really, really interesting. So you talked a little bit about experimentation. Can you expand on that a little more? Like, what is a instance of when you kind of ran an experiment? You weren't really sure what the outcome was going to be, but it went well.
Yeah. So the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, I'd love to know when it went well, when it didn't go so well. Like, what have you found AI to be the most useful area, and then where has it kind of fallen flat?
Yeah, I mean, God, the AI horror stories are real. Just look in the news. But okay, we'll start with the good news. So I think it is starting to get better at personalization. Like I said, when you can get to the voice of the customer faster, using that in your material. So using the words that they use, like the phrases, the use cases, things like that. So using that in marketing materials helps in so many different ways. We know that it's just easier to get to now. I would say also from like a personalization point. So how many times have you heard like, hey, can we, verticalize everything and turn everything into industry specific or persona specific material, things like that. I think one of the wins that I had was at MetaRouter, so a 30-person startup, right? I was the solo and founding product marketer in charge of, everything, analyst relation, content generation, website, everything, you name it. Two things that AI really helped me with there in terms of personalization. One, it's just personalizing the website. So it would take way too much time for me to make industry pages or industry content. And there's
Mhm.
a cool tool called Personally.ai. It's like a one-man shop, but it's like the coolest thing ever because it will personalize the web page based on the person's title, the company, so industry or vertical that they're in, and so how senior they are. And it'll customize like the whole website, everything, the use case. It'll give like key value props for that specific, again, person and industry. So like I don't have to make a million pages myself. It'll auto update everything, give them the right resources on the web page, like amazing.
Yeah,
So that was a huge win in terms of like conversion and people being like, even just like kind of the viral aspect of, I know we've talked about personalized web pages before. I mean, we used to make hundreds of web pages for this, and now,
sure.
I can update it, not just again for vertical, but vertical and title and that person and what they've engaged with previously.
Mhm.
So that was a really cool win. It was just like a test, like a really, really easy to implement. Kind of as a beta program, and that went really, really well for our conversions. And then again, for just people talking about it online, because they, hey, come to our website, get your page customized for you, and then we have all their information, which is awesome. Um,
That's cool.
so that's one of the cool wins, I would say. Flops. So at the same company, so at MetaRouter, we had a really, really awesome CEO and so intelligent and so like on top of the industry, but very, very humble. Like didn't like to be super vocal on social media.
Mhm.
Just like you just don't necessarily want to be in the limelight, but you're a
Yeah,
founder, right? You need to have that consistent outreach and things. So we encouraged him to use ChatGPT to make some thought leadership, you know, text, some social posts on LinkedIn. Um, the content itself decent, but it sounded like you can tell it's AI, like, the dreaded M dash or the juxtaposition. Like there were things that obviously, gave it away that took really good content, like a brilliant mind and turned it into like, we know this is AI, it sounds like everything else, which the idea of an executive kind of social campaign, obviously like really smart and using tools to like make someone that maybe doesn't feel as comfortable to do that awesome. Um, didn't turn out great because we didn't go through the process of reviewing it and refining it and making it sound more human. So we had to kind of backtrack there. But then um, we compensated by using AI to take long videos. So whether it was internal, like our CEO talking about the vision or what he's excited about, and using AI to pull snippets of that, like externally facing, of course, but external snippets of him like showing that passion and showing that thought leadership, like him truly embracing what we're doing, and then putting that on social to kind of build him back up and show that like he truly knows what he's talking about in a human way, in a really cool way. And just again, if I can take a 30-minute recording of my CEO, throw it into AI and have it do the clips and do the transcripts and like all the subtitles, everything like that, like in 2 seconds. Heck yeah, like let's do it. So turn kind of a flop into a win, and also not letting AI run rampant, because I've had friends, it hasn't happened to me personally, use AI for things like web personalization or email campaigns based on certain signals that like have gone terribly wrong. So again,
Sure, sure.
stories are real.
Yeah. I feel like the more information you can feed into it, the more specificity you can feed into it, even if it doesn't sound great, then you could use AI to refine it. That's how
Yes.
I've been mostly
Oh yeah.
using it. Or just to brainstorm with AI, I think is also really, really helpful.
Like, you have to think about if a new hire was starting at your company, like what would you give your new hire to onboard quickly? That's like the what knowledge base do you want to give that agent based on what you want it to do? I think, yeah, that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. So it obviously makes it faster for everyone to create content and run campaigns. How have you used it to think about differentiation? And which platforms do you feel like are the most useful for that?
Ooh. Yeah. So I think a couple things. So there's like the messaging of something that's AI, and it's also building AI things. So there's like two, I see like two sides to this coin. So if we take um the product, for example, there's like product market fit, right? We all know what that is. But
Hmm.
then there's like language market fit. Like, again, are you speaking the language of your customers at the level that they're at? So if you're talking like to really technical people that like know their stuff, are you meeting them where they are in terms of like, again, the words you're using, but like the level of information or detail or like the nuances of the technical thing that they want? So I think that's just one thing to think about is there's product market fit. It's easier for competitors to catch up. But what's your language market fit, right? Like the words that you're using to describe what you're doing. And I think like evidence will never go away that what customers are actually doing, the successes that they're having, like that will never go away. But I think the other thing to think about in this world is like where are you going in this like adventure map? So in a world where it's easier again to kind of catch up to certain things, when you see a competitor do something, are you just like trying to close the gap, or are you actually seeing the future and building for the future or getting caught up in like the hype? So for example, I work at a customer data platform, a CDP, where this idea of like composability, like putting puzzle pieces together is really hype. And there's, a time and place for composability. But if you're just like building around hype of what that is, you're not actually thinking about the future. And like you said, in a world where everyone's building the same content, right? Like you can turn out a blog post in an hour. Everyone can do that. But how are you actually proving what's possible? So tools to help you actually do these things, right? Um, I would say, oh my god, it's Opus Clip is the one I'm thinking of that pulls out those. It ranks those video clips by what they think is going to be most viral. So it listens to everything and like ranks it for you. There's another one called Retelio.
Hmm.
Um, Another like very startup company, but that will take your gong calls, your CRM, your support tickets, and pull out again what the most like viral testimonials are. So it'll surface all, not just all the good quotes and all the goodness, but it'll actually rank it for you and tell you what is like the strongest testimonial to then share. So some tools like can get to those again gold mines faster to make the human side of things really come out in like a easier way. Um, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Um, Maybe I'll share a
Yeah,
use case.
please. Oh, anything.
Yeah, so when I try to figure out differentiators for a company, I'll do my homework of like, here's what I think the differentiators are, and then I'll research how the competitors are differentiating. And then I might feed both of those things into the AI just to find out, like gut check, like how, what do you think about this is my plan? Critique my plan. I use it for that a lot. I find that the more homework I could do before even touching AI, I find I find that the more inputs I can give and more specificity I can give the AI, the more useful the um, feedback is.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah.
like, and then I also will play different platforms against each other.
That.
I find that for competitor research, I use
Yep.
Perplexity. Do you use
Mhm.
Perplexity?
Oh, it's like my new Google. Like anything research based is Perplexity. And
Okay.
if you see Comet, if you sign up for like the new release of Comet. It's like the coolest web browsing experience ever. So yes, yeah, Perplexity, 100%.
Cool. Yeah. Um, so that's interesting. I'm gonna try the other ones that you mentioned though.
Yeah, we're doing I love these tools. I mean, that's part of the problem of all of this, right? There's so many and they're very specific use cases. Like you want to personalize your website, there's something for that. You want to personalize your follow-up for sales or something for that. Like that is the one thing that I think about often, like what, in what world can someone kind of bring a lot of this together? Okay, let me take a step back. There's a couple of things when we're thinking about agents. There's like tasks. So I need it to do competitive research, right? I need it to critique my plan of differentiation. That's like a task. And then there's workflows. Like I want it to pull competitive research weekly and send it into my Slack and tell me what this means for like there's workflows that we can pull it into. And I think for someone starting out with agents or tasks, like yes, Perplexity for research, Chat GPT. There's moments of Claude, but I think the new Chat GPT is gonna be better than that. But yeah, start with a task, but then like when you're thinking about workflows, kind of mapping it out and finding what like team of agents can help you do that. So like agent mode on Chat GPT can help be your like team if there's something for like a launch and you want support with, tiering the launch and then writing the copy for X, Y, and Z. There's things like that. Now, the one tool I will say that helps with my like specific launch workflow, it's called Alphana.
Mhm.
ALPHANA. So I'll take it's video to text, which is interesting versus like ChatGPT. You upload your messaging doc and you say build blog post, blah, blah, blah. Alphana will take a video. So say if there's like an internal enablement session or a product conversation about the roadmap or something like that about a launch, you put in the video and then it'll spit out like your entire bill of materials, like truly everything, the PR, the web page, the FAQ, like everything. Amazing. I'm obsessed. And then there's other tools if you want to kind of validate what that spits out to make sure that you're covering the gaps that your current product doesn't have. So there's just so many tools, but this one's called Alpha Sense. And that one will tell you, okay, is the content you're putting out there actually handling the objections or the questions that your customers have that your current content doesn't. So it has like a lovely little pie chart of here's the current content you have. Here's the questions and objections you're getting from customers. Is there like, are you answering that with your content? Like, is there overlap? And if not, does a new product launch help cover some of those gaps?
It's very cool. I love it. So you touched upon a little bit on how you use AI to build workflows. Do you use it to build like frameworks for go to market?
Yeah. This is where I feel like a dinosaur. Like I have some frameworks that like I know and love pre AI days. I have campaign launch documents or what we call MPI, which was the new process or new product implementation process. If I'm thinking about new frameworks, there's kind of like a process, I guess, that I follow to build a new framework with AI. I call it the 5Ds. I don't know, like my brain works in mysterious ways. And now let's see if I can remember them. It's discover. So what, like, again, the inputs, what are you putting in to help like get this hypothesis going for what you need the framework for? Um, deciding. So what do you want it to look like? Is it a matrix? Is it a campaign? Like, what do you want that output to be? Designing. So give it kind of like what you want as a first draft. Deliver what, like, actually have it make the thing, and then debrief. So like decide what you like and don't like about it, and then like keep testing it. So I think one of the things, and you've touched on this, is like AI is kind of lazy. Like it stops it where it wants to stop. So you can keep pushing it. Like you said, if you're going to be my biggest critique on, say, this new framework, tell me why this framework is good and bad. Tell me what other frameworks have been successful and like why this one, the pros and cons of this framework versus another successful framework. Like you can go down those rabbit holes, and I encourage everyone to do, because otherwise it'll just, it is lazy. Like it will stop at like MVP, if you will, like minimum viable product, and it'll stop there. And the new Chat GPT 5 is interesting because it'll like ask you questions. It'll ask like maybe what's in your head before maybe you even think of it. So like I was TMI asking a medical question for my mom, and it was like, do you want me to write, questions to ask your medical provider? I was like, you know what? I didn't think I needed that, but yes, actually I do. So it's it is starting to get a little smarter and like being proactive about the next question that you may want to ask, which is cool. But yeah, go down those rabbit holes.
Yeah, I find that same exact thing. I'll give you an example. In my business, I was looking to get new ideas about campaigns for lead generation and client acquisition. And I gave it my plan. And then it did exactly what you said. It said, "That's a good plan. Here's some other ideas. Do you want me to put it in a 3-month, 90-day plan?" And I had the exact same reaction you did. I was like, you know what? I would. I would really like that. So,
You know what? You're telling you.
thank you, ChatGPT. But you're right. It also does have, for better or worse, a bias towards positivity. Like it always is complimenting you. And sometimes that's not what you want, like you said, right? You're like, no, I need you because if it's not, if it's a, a client project or what
Yeah.
have you, you're like, I don't want you to tell me that my messaging is fantastic. I want you to tell me everything that's wrong with it so that I could make this even
Yes,
better. you
and
know?
you have I mean, literally, just literally put in, like, "Be my biggest critic, play devil's
Right.
advocate." The one I tried, it was something about, like, review my new homepage web copy or something. I was like, "Be my biggest critic," and it truly was. Like, it was it was a little brutal.
Yeah.
Like, he went from
You're
being
like, okay, that's a little too far, ChatGPT.
slow, slow your roll,
You
sir.
really hurt my feelings. That's
Uh,
funny.
no empathy with ChatGPT, but that's fine. That's
That's
why we
okay.
use it. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So have you used it
Mhm.
for any interdepartmental relationship building in terms of working with other departments or, typically, obviously, marketing and product marketing
Yeah.
works a lot with the sales team and on enablement. Do you use it to get ideas about how to work better with those teams?
Yeah. Some tools that we use, like Gong, for example, I'll explain to sales kind of what I'm doing, which is good because then one, they understand how I'm tracking their data, but then they'll proactively come to me with ideas. If they think ChatGPT is like creeping in, listening to to pull this insights, then they'll come to me for like, I heard this and that. And like, that's been really good for kind of like understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, for them to like be a part of that conversation. The product team has actually gotten really into this. So we use Glean internally, which is kind of like an internal chat GPT. So it'll pull like messages from our Slack channel, our Google Drives, things like that, which is really nice. But we've built agents within Glean to do things like write up newsletters. So if every month you have all these like really cool features and products that shipped and you want to put that in like a monthly customer newsletter, right? We have an agent that will take a PRD doc and technical documents and write
Hmm.
that blurb. It's so nice. But so we have all these Glean agents that do some of these tasks. And now products gotten really into building their own agents in Glean that like we can kind of use as this little ecosystem within again our internal database, which is really cool. So it's fun because they get excited about it, we get excited about it. They know what they're doing and how we like put that into an agent to do something for what our purposes are. And then finally I would say for some of the things that are more internal stakeholder stuff. So think like a battle card, for example, or like a again follow up for a sales conversation. So one's like called Paper Flight, for example, which is like AI. It's actually really cool. They call it just in time learning, but it'll pull like resources during a call, right? That sales might be able to use, or it kind of like pre packages a follow up bundle of stuff for a customer. Hey, you made these comments, you asked these questions, whatever, and here's like a bundle of stuff that you should send as a follow up. Like really cool stuff. Um, or again, battle cards like updating in real time. So hey, your competitor announced this update. Here's how you should change your battle card, right? Like there's these living, breathing documents that AI can help us update that gets us really in the weeds with these other teams because they're the ones using it.
That's amazing. That's very cool. So when we think about AI moving so quickly, right? What do you think we will be talking about if we were to have this conversation again in 6 months or a year? What kinds of
Yeah.
capabilities do you think that, specific to product marketing, obviously, do you think that it's going to get even better or more interesting?
Oh my gosh. I think three things. Even if we look ahead like 6, 12 months. One, I don't think we'll have to do as much personalization. I think agents will handle so much of that. Core messaging doc, core product marketing will always be there. Like we will always need that. But how we change that for personas, for verticals, for certain titles, whatever, I think AI will really handle the variation creation of that and then even the delivery of that. So I think agents will get to the point where it's like we know an executive at like this specific this person has these like tendencies or likes to get their information this way, and the agent will make that variation and deliver it like, very specifically to how people consume that information. I think that the delivery will become more autonomous, which I think is awesome. Like for me as a consumer, I'm like, take all my data, take all my behaviors. If you know I'm like walking to Marshalls for Halloween decor because I love Halloween, like give me a discount code and I will buy more. Like
Wow.
maybe I don't know, hot take, but I'm like, thank you. If you're gonna do that for me and not give someone else a discount code because they have different habits, different whatever, like I am all for it. So I think that's number one. Again, like websites updating in real time right now, they have some lag, but I think the buying process will become easier because AI can make those intelligent decisions. At least I hope so. But of course, it opens Pandora's box for like being smarter about differentiation and making the right content that's being delivered and like having more human conversations. So that's number one. I think the variations and the delivery of things to make the buying process easier will happen. Two, I don't know if this is true, but I don't even know if I'm optimistic. But this is like I think this might happen. So I think companies like Evidenza that are using AI generated personas or people to do market research to like again test messaging, positioning, product changes, I do think that will get better. I don't think human will ever be out of the loop. I still think we need to have those conversations, but I think it'll get us 80% of the way where we're validating with customers and prospects versus kind of like starting with people as ground zero. Now, whether I love that or not, it's a different
Yeah.
conversation. I think that's probably where we're going because it's cheaper, it's easier, it's faster than doing your typical, market research and interviewing 100 people. May eventually help with potentially close lost as well, right? Like if there's a pattern for winning and losing deals, can something like AI generated personas like give us that information faster to pivot faster and make conversations. There are some pros to it. But I do think that kind of like agent intelligence may get better. And finally, hopefully agents will make things more fun. Like let's have it on like a happy note, right? Like I think things are going to have to get more interactive. They're going to have to get more immersive because no one can rely on like their blog posts anymore or like SEO to find things. I think we're going to have to get more creative with how we have these conversations with our buyers and how we talk about our differentiation. I think there's a lot of fun that will come out of this when I have someone that can like write my monthly product updates. Great. I can go focus on how I'm going to talk about those updates in like a cool way, right? So I think that'll be a positive thing.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to learn a little more about Michelle and her career story. We are back with Michelle Nieberding, Director of Product Marketing at Treasure Data. Let's talk a little about your career journey and the lessons you've learned along the way. So, as you look back, can you think of an example or an experience that shaped your leadership style or your approach to decision making?
Yeah. So I I've been in B2B tech for my whole product marketing career. And you see, and I would say one of the things that really shaped my career, which is interesting because on the face it seems like such a positive thing, but looking back, I'm like, I learned a lot from this. So I was at a company that we had a very, very, very hands-on CMO, like super hands-on, which again, you like clients are like, oh my God, that's so amazing. You get executive input, like this is awesome. The marketing team was probably like 30, 40 people. So it was a big team. Also a lot for the CMO to manage because she wanted to review every single thing that went out, every single word, whatever. I think for us, it became almost like a bottleneck because, one, there's so many things to review. You're just in a queue. And two, like you want to believe that your executive leader has trust in you and empowers you to like make decisions and do things and try things. And I think it became challenging for the team to feel empowered to like make those decisions when at some times there would be like a pivot, that a conversation that happened at the executive level that we didn't have context for. We weren't aware of like other conversations. And so things would pivot really quickly and we didn't know why. So we had a launch where like the entire messaging focus pivoted. And we were about, I don't know, a couple weeks out at the time and we're like, whoa. And this is pre-AI, right? So we're doing everything manually.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just like whiplash, right? But again, it was like there were good intentions. There was the right conversations were had at the top. It was just like whiplash for us, those kind of executing underneath. And I think what I learned from that in terms of my leadership style is like, I too am like very type A. I am a little bit of a control freak. It's been challenging for me to let go of the reins a little bit and like, again, empower people to to have the trust and like, I know people can do things. Does my control freak side kick in? For sure. But having gone through that and knowing like what I want teams to do moving forward, it's like, I'll give you the support, and the resources, everything you need. But like, you come to me and raise your hand when something's an issue. I trust, that you can do things. So, um, again, a lot of learnings and I empathize with that leader because again, I'm very type A. If you just ask my poor husband, like our wedding, very, we had a planner, but of course I had to do everything. Like I get it. Like I totally get it. We have really smart people that know what they're doing, and I have a lot to learn from everyone as well. So definitely a good learning.
That's a good way to think about it, or to try to overcome that when it becomes detrimental. But ultimately, I think people in product marketing have to have somewhat of an attention to detail, or it,
Oh my
it
god.
really doesn't. This might not be the career for you, right?
Yeah, let
So-
me know how it goes.
right, exactly. So maybe not such a bad thing. But no, that's interesting. Um, have you ever received any bad advice or conventional wisdom that you just don't find rings true for you in your life?
Yeah. Um, so I 2 things I guess I struggled with and I enjoyed at first. One was like just ship it. Like just ship it, just do it, like we'll iterate later. Um, at first I was like, "Oh, that's great. We're moving so fast. This is great." But a lot of times you only get one chance at a first impression. So I've worked at a lot of companies where we're very enterprise focused and if you just ship it and you make the wrong first impression, it's very hard to get back into those accounts or to like connect with the right people when you've already maybe not said things the right way or that it wasn't phrased or positioned in the correct way. So, um, while I do think teams should move fast, like I do believe like 80 is the new 100. This idea of like just ship it, we'll iterate later, like just go, go, go was a little maybe not the best advice.
The era of move fast and break things,
Yeah,
I think
right.
is over, because a lot of things got broken and they did not get put back together.
Only got more
So
broken. You're like, I did not know that could shatter into more.
right, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
but again, like, you hear these things, you're like, "Yes, it's great," and you're like, oh, no." Like, when things go wrong, they go really wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am someone who has a bias towards action, and I think you
Yes.
you do as well, but yeah, I like the 80-20 rule much better than move fast and break things,
Thanks.
like
The China shop, yeah, like, what is the cost of rebuilding that China shop? Like, let's
exactly.
talk about ROI. We're all triggered, it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah. So I like to ask everyone a question about how their things they like to do in their personal life has a positive impact on their professional life. Is there anything that you do outside of work, maybe for fun, that you've noticed that helps you do your job better?
Yeah. I've gotten really into golf. Um,
Oh.
I think learning anything as an adult is very hard. Golf is, like, particularly hard, because of the patience aspect. So I'm, like, very action-oriented, like, very competitive, very type A. It was very humbling to be learning golf. I've been playing for the last 2 or 3 years now, and the learning curve was wild.
Mm,
I was like, "I'm not good at this. I don't wanna do this." I'm used to being good and competitive and athletic generally in golf. It's just been a very, very humbling sport, and so, um to learn that as an adult, to take the time for the very specific way to hit a ball and all the different clubs and like all of the things you have to learn about golf has really taught me patience and like, the end goal, is worth that journey. So when you're working really hard towards something, whatever it is, a launch, health goals, whatever it is, like that payoff, that satisfaction of working hard to do something is so worth it. So in those moments that you're like, this sucks and I hate it, like keep pushing through because now, Sundays I spend 5 hours playing golf with my husband and I love it. Like I am obsessed. So yes, golf has been a fun, interesting journey.
That's amazing. Yeah, it probably also exercises, a different part of your brain
Yeah.
that
Oh my
is
gosh. Thank
helping.
God.
Yeah.
It gets lonely on that side. I don't know.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is it via LinkedIn?
Yep. LinkedIn all the way. Yep. I'm always lurking. So feel free to reach out.
Excellent. We'll be keeping a lookout for your AI type tips. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being a guest on The Last Word on Product Marketing. This has been a lot of fun and really educational, particularly about all your great tips that you've shared here. I'll be sure to round those up and put them in the show notes so people can explore some of those platforms on their own. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on all the major platforms and check out the YouTube channel for videos. Thank you so much for listening.